Today we are going over helpful hints that you might come across in your Roman architecture. This doesn't come with everything that you might come across, but just some helpful pointers to make work easier. I want to start with over here. I have prepped the a Colosseum. Notice that I know the Colosseum is round, but in order to make the windows on that, you'll want to make a several-sided polygon. I chose a 10-sided polygon. You can do 12, 16, and it'll have more walls, but this way your windows will be flat against the outside. And I'm going to show you how to make groupings and move the windows across instead of hand drawing each individual windows. Using the copy tool will be helpful. So say I'm creating a window or an opening using a rectangle tool and an arc tool. I can use the eraser to erase the inside. So now I have that shape of a window that they use in the Colosseum. And now what I'm going to do is select just the middle with a single click, not a double click, but a single click. I'm then going to take the move tool and use my option to copy, and I'm going to move down and down again. Now that I have three of the same windows, what I can do is I want to put windows over here. I can actually group these windows together, and you do it like this. So I'm going to go ahead and do a single select, hold down the shift key, and single select and single select. Now that they are all selected in the edit column, I can make that a group, which just puts that together. And now using the move and copy tool, I can option to move, click and drag, and notice that it says on face. So the computer went ahead and changed the direction, and then I'll place it. Then I can option click again, select, and notice that it changed it for me. It says on face, and move it. And this is a much faster way to move and copy multiple windows, especially for something like the Colosseum. The next thing we're going to look at is columns, and then also putting a top on columns, which is a little hard to do to draw rectangles on top of columns. So the first thing I did is I know I'm going to have a base, which I can add stairs and a lot of other details, but what I did was I created the size and then I copied it over here. So I'm going to leave that over here to make my roof. Now what I did in the back over here was I made my own column. So I made it and it is separated. And what I'm going to do is notice that it's all different pieces. So I'm going to triple click it. Oh, it's not joined on the top. So I'm going to triple click and hold down the shift key. So I basically selected the entire column. And the same thing like the windows over here, I can make that a group as well. That way, if I click on something else, now I only need a single click and everything is joined together. I can then move it in the location that I want. Now the next thing, let's use our move and copy. So what I can do is take the move tool. Instead of move and copy and copy and copy, remember copying multiples allows us to have even spaces in between. So say I want 6 spaces. Let's try and see what that looks like. I can take the move tool, so I'm going to press option. I'm going to click and drag across the base and drop it. As soon as I do my second drop, I can select a number, so 6 dash return, and then it fills in the columns for me. So again, that was in the move and copy notes, and I went ahead and joined those all together. And I actually went on an angle. Oops. Let's try that again. So Command Z. Let's try to move this straight over. So I'll show you that again. So with the move, I'm going to press Option. So click and drag. So there we go. So if I move along the green axes, that is going to go straight across. And let's have wider spaces. So now I'm going to select 5 dash return. And there I have all of those there for the columns. Now, the cool thing about this is, say I wanted many, many columns. I can make a group. I'm going to shift, click, 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 holding down the shift key. I can make all of those a group. And now to move and copy over here, all I have to do is click Option, and it makes a copy over everything for me. And I want to be along the red axes. And there you go. So now I have several columns of the same size. Now back to this area right here. So now it's really hard to draw a rectangle on top of these. So one thing I can do is, by making this copy over here already, I can go ahead and create my roof. Just dragging that other thing. So I can grab the middle. And then make my roof. And now what I can do is triple select it and then move it up. And get a good viewpoint and then move it over. I think I'm moving closer to me. Oh, now that looks pretty good. And then I can move it down. But you get the point. So that's a trick for how to make things like in front of the Pantheon or a Roman temple. And the last thing we're going to look at is just merging shapes. And so say I wanted to combine these. Some people try to draw the rectangle from a circle or the circle into the rectangle. What you can do is you can actually merge two items, and it would look like this. So I would make the rectangle by itself. I could even put a roof on here to make it more of an interesting shape. Oh, it's moving my other roof again. Okay, so I'm going to move that. And now what I can do is I can triple select it and move it. And what happens is I can actually merge into the new shape. And so what it does is, see how it kind of masks into it, joining where I want it to join. And that's the way to join shapes that aren't exactly, fitting together right away. You can make them separate and then merge them together. So I hope that was helpful on getting you started in your Roman architecture building. I hope you have fun.